How's it going, and welcome to 4 Mile Ranch. Today I have a informal video, kind of just firing from the hip here, so to speak. Just want to give you an update to an already formal review on the channel, and that is the ATN ThOR 4. Now, why am I taking the time to talk about this optic? Well, because I have now had this in my possession for 3 years. It's been a long time coming. I initially wanted to do a 2-year update, and then 2.5-year mark hit, and today I realized that I've now had this for 3 years, and I had a little bit of time to just talk about my thoughts. So quick note, I like to be as transparent as possible because when I am seeking information for things I want to purchase, I appreciate transparency. So ATN sent this optic to me 3 years ago. I did not pay anything for it. The original agreement was that they were going to let me hang on to it for about 90 days so I could put a review together and then share my honest thoughts and opinions with you guys. And then that turned into 3 years because at the end of those 90 days, they asked if I wanted to buy it. I said, of course, I'd love to buy it, but my channel's not very big compared to some of the guys on YouTube. However, I can offer continued uploads of hunting footage. So if you're a longtime subscriber, I'm sure you've noticed that I do post a lot of ATN ThOR 4 hunting footage. And on that note, I don't want to, again, do what you want with that information. I'm just letting you know for transparency's purposes, but I have also purchased 2 different ATN products, their Excite 2 HD and their 4K Pro on my dime. I like those products enough that that's why I asked if I could review the ThOR 4, because I like ATN's products. I'd never recommend anything on this channel that I would not buy for myself. So again, keep that in mind. It just worked out that they did let me hang on to this, but that's not going to make me any easier or harder on this optic. I tried to be as unbiased as possible, and as part of that, that's why I'm disclosing that information. So how have I been using this for 3 years? Regardless of how it was obtained, how have I been using it? Well, this is a dedicated hunting setup, so to speak. You can see I got a mount for a suppressor, my SIG suppressor. That is basically how this has lived for the last probably 2 years now. After using it for that initial year, and it averages about 1 hunt a week for every single year. So we're just gonna call it easy. Let's just say it 50 hunts a year, 50 uses, not to include occasional range trips. Some weeks may not see a single hunt, and some weeks it could be 2-3 nights consecutive hunting. So honest average and very conservative estimate would be, let's just say 50 hunts out of the year. I would say that we only need to charge this guy once every 4, sometimes 5 weeks. The battery in this is so good, it can actually make you be lazy and not stay on top of charging it regularly. It is something that sits in our safe, and when it's, there's an opportunity where we can go hunting, where we're not too tired after, the work day, etc. We grab it, we go, and then after we see that battery indicator, after weeks of use, occasional use, like I had mentioned, is getting a little lower, then we'll plug it in for overnight and then throw it back in the safe until we remember, oh yeah, we need to charge this every now and then. It does have a battery. Why do I bring this up? It's an internal battery. It's also one of the most common questions I get asked in terms of the ATN ThOR 4 is, how is the battery life? It's been very good. Now, I mentioned that it holds battery very well, but after 3 years of use, I have also not noticed the battery draining any faster than when I initially got it. So that's also a very big deal as well. And it's possible that it's degrading. In fact, I can almost guarantee it has degraded to an extent since it first was received by me 3 years ago, and that's just the physics of batteries. Even your cell phone, every time you charge it, technically you're not getting as much out of the previous charge. That's just how batteries work, but it's such a strong battery, excuse me, that's negligible in my experience. So very reliable battery. Now, what the other side of reliability, let's just talk about ability to hold 0. How well is this held 0 in my experience after 3 years of use? Well, very, very well. And interestingly enough, I am using ATN's quick detach mount. So I am pairing ATN hardware with ATN hardware. This is only about a $100 quick detach mount. I have a dedicated video on the channel, so I'm not going to talk about it too much on this video, showing how repeatable it is. You get roughly MOA repeatability out of this, I believe. It's been a while since I've watched my own video, admittedly. It was a solid mount. That being said, I don't actually use the QD function. Again, dedicated hunting setup. This is not a tactical setup where I need to swap optics. This is pretty much where this scope lives now. Every 3 months, we try to make a good habit of taking this optic to the range, making sure the 0 is good to go, just for some peace of mind. I would say 3 out of 4 times we find that it's good to go. occasionally. So I would say once a year we do need to make an adjustment, on average for the last 3 years, so 3 total adjustments made. And the most shift I've seen is roughly maybe an MOA or slightly sub MOA. Now, with that small of a shift at 100 yards, that could be, inconsistencies in manufacturing the ammunition. It could definitely be weather conditions possibly affecting things. There's a number of factors. I don't think it's necessarily fair to say it's the scope or the mount. It could be the shooter, I don't know. Just giving you as much information, just again, kind of firing off facts from the hip, my actual experience the past 3 years. So again, we've been very happy with that. It's been pretty reliable. It's not something that I have to take out and have to kind of internally be worried like, man, I really hope the zero held. I hope we're gonna be successful on this hunt. It has not been anything like that. It's been very reliable in my experience. So we've been very happy. Now, in terms of durability, 0 issues whatsoever, no mechanical failures. The only thing is that, it's cosmetic. Some people are nitpicky, some people aren't. My camera will focus. You'll see that some on the top of those buttons, come on camera, some of those black buttons have a little bit of red starting to show through. Shows you how much we've been using it. Hopefully it gives you an idea. Again, non-issue for me, just giving you the facts. Those buttons didn't fully, they don't look like they're brand new anymore. That's about all I can report. Other than that, the lens, the front lens is in good shape. Rear lens is in good shape. It's functioning. Of course, any electric software has occasional glitches and freezes. I probably could count the number of times the last 3 years this is frozen on one hand. All you do is you power it down, you power it back up, and it's back in the hunt. That's a very rare occurrence. I think they continue to improve the software, regularly. Now, I do want to put out one last note, some final thoughts, that when I first did a review on this optic, I didn't have the experience that I have now 3 years later in terms of thermal optics. I have gotten to play with quite a few more. You'll see on the channel I have reviewed more than just ATN products. I really don't say no to any kind of electro-optic someone wants to send me and test out and give you guys my honest thoughts and opinions. That being said, when I did the initial review, I probably didn't appreciate how well refined the ATN product lineup is compared to some of its competitors. And I use the word refined because that's probably the best way I can put it. ATN is not new in the electric optics game, therefore they are very good at what they do in this day and age. The user interface on this optic is incredibly good. Now, what do I mean by that? The menu is pretty well thought out. There's not a lot of glitches, not a lot of bugs. The app works like it should. It's very easy to extract your footage from the optic via a simple common SD card. Very good functionality. I've been completely happy from that perspective. Now, as well as the image that you see through the scope, it's probably one of the best that I've tested to date for a 384 base sensor. Additionally, the footage holds up to be some of the best when exporting it. Some electro-optics, although they look great through the scope, once you export it, the footage gets so compressed that it looks terrible, honestly. And again, some guys out there don't really care about the video recording function at all. I'm just trying to give you some information, some insights now based off my 3 years experience behind this optic, while also now comparing it to some other optics. And if you actually do care about the video function, this scope probably does it the cleanest out of any of the thermal optics I've tested to date. Very simple, very intuitive, not a whole lot to it. This is a pretty straightforward video because it's been a pretty straightforward optic. I haven't had any issues. I am aware that there are some speculation, some people have bad experience when it comes to ATN customer service. Luckily, I personally haven't had to use ATN customer service for this optic. It's been going strong for me. If you are looking into an ATN optic or any electro optic, I am actually a member of an ATN Facebook page. ATN users, I think it covers even night vision and thermal. And I will say that 90% of the posts in there are people sharing their positive hunting experiences, shooting footage, etc. And then there's 10% of people having issues, trying to troubleshoot, trying to figure things out. There's actually even some ATN staff, I believe, that have been active in some of those forums online that do try to lend a helping hand if you happen to get a faulty optic, you know, anything out there mechanical will eventually fail. Anything electric certainly will eventually fail. Sometimes it can be luck of the draw how soon it happens to you. Again, in my sample size of 1, I've had a good experience. In fact, I have currently in my possession, I believe, 4 ATN optics, and I've had good experiences. Again, ATN, obviously I've tested a lot of their products. They sent me this one. So if you think I may be biased to ATN, I'm not sure. But again, I've had a positive experience. So of course, if anything catastrophic happens to this optic, I will place a pinned comment in the initial review. To date, I don't have anything else really to report. So that is my thoughts after 3 years with the ATN ThOR 4. At this point in time, I still highly recommend this optic. It does a very good job at what it does. If you are someone who's on the market for a dedicated thermal optic, then this is definitely one of the top ones that I can currently recommend. Even 3 years later, I still think it holds its own against some of the competition. So with that, guys, I thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and as always, have a good one.